I missed the button. I missed the button. I let it go all the way to the progressive matters. And that means that, well, Mike's going to give me a hard time. What's up, guys? What's happening, Angry Ginger Army? I'm wearing my Army colors today. Army green. Army green up in the house. All right, we got some stuff to talk about. Boy, do we have some stuff to talk about. Okay. Well, let's see who all is here. Oz, what's happening? Liz, what's happening? Mike, what's happening? 5 Alarm, having a rough week. Well, I hope it gets a little bit better being here tonight. Christina, what's happening? Susie, Roxanne. Did I say Roxanne? No, I didn't say Roxanne already. All right. I think I said Susie. Christina, Pinkerbell, Tony D, $2. I wasn't even on yet. Thank you for the $2. What is an angry ginger? Well, it's a solid question. It's very philosophical. I mean, now I'm about to sound like Jordan Peterson. When we say an angry ginger, what do we mean by angry ginger? I think we need to start with that. What is an angry ginger? I am an angry ginger, mostly when I'm driving behind slow people, though. Dee Dee, what's up? Oz, I think I said hi already. I'm losing it. Progressive, what's going on? Tony D, if I didn't say hi, and thank you. Diane, you're here. Sorry, Diane, I didn't get that message until like way too late. I'm not good at showing up all of a sudden to anything, but I do want to come on the show again. I do want to be there. 5 eggs. What's up? Nina, Alan, what's going on? Bucket in the house. What's happening, Bucket? Tammy, what's going on, Tammy? All right. I think I said hi to everybody. I have some stuff to talk about, like right off the bat. I don't know if you guys saw, but the Wisecrack channel is no longer going to make videos. 3 million subscribers. No longer going to make the videos, and that's a sad time for all of us because they make some pretty good content over there at Wisecrack. But I've got a channel for you guys, for a guy from Wisecrack that if you liked Wisecrack, you guys should go and subscribe to because he's one of the content creators over there, and he's one of my favorite content creators from Wisecrack. So, yeah, I'll show you guys a channel. Really kind of sad to see that they're not going to be here. USMC vet Tony, hell yeah, buddy, that you and Gulf Marine are going to get along. Dude, I love seeing all my vets. I love all of my vets in the channel. For those of you that don't know, my whole family is military. My uncle was a Marine. He's also a very good captain in the CHP as well. And yeah, I love seeing you guys. I've talked to a couple subscribers that were vets and heard their stories. Recently talked to an employee that was an ex-Air Force guy, and he shared a lot of stories with me of his time in Iraq during Operation Enduring Freedom and a little bit of his time over in Afghanistan. Love hearing from you guys. Next week, I'm going to be on Sons of Liberty, Tuesday at 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern. Going to be over there talking to yet another vet, Big Sarge. Going to have a good time over there. So, yeah, I love seeing you guys. I am bald. Thank you for pointing that out, Tony. It's a rather recent condition, but I always hated hair, so I'm okay with it. Let me tell you this. I don't even like having to shave my head, and I have thought before about potentially nairing my dome. Just dropping the nair up there. I've heard if you nair, it goes away and does not come back, but I've also heard that if you nair, it's a chemical, and I'm a little bit concerned about letting any more chemicals into my brain, to be honest. Christina, your dad's a Vietnam veteran? My grandfather was a Vietnam veteran. Really, some crazy stories about that was like when I'd sit there on Memorial Day watching the marathons of military movies, and I'd ask my grandpa at the time, like, "Is this what war is like?" And he'd just shake his head. Yeah, no. Being in Vietnam was not like this. Being in Vietnam was not knowing when you potentially were going to die. And actually, I just had, like I said, a pretty good conversation with an Air Force vet that works at my store. and some great conversations with him on the same topic. So, yeah, Nair hurts. Does it, Diane? It hurts. Nair burns, and it stinks. See, that's why I haven't done it. Too much of a wuss. Roxanne, your dad was a Korean War vet. Yep, mine too. KL, welcome to the chat. Kevin, welcome to the chat. I think you said there, Diane, that I could email you. Just email me. I will do that. That is the only way that I'm capable of doing anything. I have to schedule everything, Diane. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people are really good about jumping on and stuff, but I am not. I am so bad at it. I'm usually doing something, and I'm like, oh, I'm upstairs. So for me to ever be on stream, and as you guys saw the poll there, I put up a poll asking if you guys would rather me be on live stream, because when I do videos generally take me about 4 hours, and a lot of research beforehand. So I've thought about it, and I've said to myself, like, should I be doing videos, or should I be watching them with people and going through the research that I go through for the videos with people so they can ask me questions and help me to educate myself? Because a lot of you guys have really good takes on stuff, and a lot of you guys also have a lot of information that I don't have. And you guys are super fucking helpful. And I do this on my own. I'm my own editor. I'm my own researcher. I'm everything. I'm my own IT guy. I do everything. So I thought about it, and I thought maybe I'd get on. So anyways, like I said, when I do these things, though, that means that I have to come downstairs. I have to get everything ready. I have to set everything up. And oftentimes when people send me, like, hey, come and pop on, and I'm like, I just can't. I'm usually like doing something with my kids, or I'm eating dinner, or there's like a million things going on in my normal life. As most of you know, I work all day, and then I come home and I either make videos or live stream. So I've thought about it, and I thought what I should probably be doing is doing more live streams, because they seem like they're more productive. The videos, I'm glad you guys like and, comment on the videos, but, they don't seem to have as much reach. And I think more important than anything, more important than clicks and views, more important than subscribers, is getting on and talking to people and doing streams and being a part of the community. I think that's the most important thing. So I am thinking about experimenting with being on stream more often, probably a little bit shorter, like 2-hour streams instead of 3-hour streams, and going over videos that I see throughout the week. I always see videos that I want to talk to you guys about, and I never have enough time to get to them. As you guys know, last stream, we wanted to get the Andrew Callahan doom scrolling interview, and I thought that was a great interview. And I was like, oh, we'll do it this time. Then I get on stream, I see all this new stuff that's on, and I want to talk about that instead. So I think throughout the week now, when I get home from work, I will schedule myself to attempt to live stream as much as possible. So I want you guys to know that. I know. How dare me have a normal life? I know, Bucket. So I want to make it happen. I want to continue to create this amazing community that we have really worked really hard on. Super Saint Scott, what's up, Scott? You don't watch many videos. Yeah, and I think a lot of people do. There's a lot of people that are live stream people. Would much prefer live stream AG. Everyone can post a video, but being interactive is far more important. Thank you. Thank you for the $10, 5 Alarm, and thank you even more for the advice. Because this is about what you guys want as far as the content. What's up, DJ? DJ's here early. It's really about the community. And I've always wanted, when I got on here, to be interactive with people. As I said, I didn't do this. I didn't do content creation because I wanted to get on here and make a bunch of money. I make money through my normal job. I have a well-paying job. I like my job. I'm very good at my job. I don't intend to quit my job, but attempting to balance having a full-time career with trying to make an impact through making like provocative videos and having to kind of also, play into the idea of audience capture. None of that stuff appeals to me. I don't want to make a video and then when that goes viral, when I get 200,000 views on a video, I'm not like every other content creator. I don't want to make another video like that. I usually want to do something different. And I think most people want to follow up to that video. And that's just not me. And, I've told you guys before, I want to get on here. I want to speak honestly about the things that I see. I want to hear your feedback on those things. Sometimes I'm going to agree with you. Sometimes I'm not. But that is more or less what I want to do when I'm on. And I think when I first started this channel, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like what I wanted to do was live stream because I didn't understand live streaming. I didn't like seeing the live streams that I did see of like content creators just hate watching other content creators, or like a lot of drama and stuff like that. But I do a lot of research. I spend a lot of my time reading and watching, and I feel like I could do that with you guys here, and it would be more fun for me, and it'd be, hopefully for you guys that want to show up and see the live streams, it would also be a benefit to you as well. So, I just hope that's what you guys want to see, and we'll give it a try. Mytesh in the chat, 10 memberships. And as long as Mytesh keeps making this damn ginger army so strong, I feel like it's necessary. Mytesh is forcing my hand by giving out memberships and making me feel like I need to be on here with my members, my ginger army, my people that have supported me in something that I thought, why would anybody ever want me to do this? So I talk a lot. I do. I talk a lot at work. I talk a lot on interviews. I talk a lot to my wife. It's what I do, I guess. At one point or another, you just have to accept that's what you do. And that's what I do. Let's see. $10, Tony D. Thankfully, you civilians do not know what vets struggle with. My choice was candy or yeah, I know, dude. And Tony, one of the things I wish I could do was talk more to veterans on stream, because 100% I believe that. I did not join the military. I was a very bad child, and I was involved in things that probably should have gotten me into the military and as a way out of what I was getting into. But I didn't get kicked out of the Air Force ROTC. I just stopped going to school. So I was in the Air Force ROTC. My father was in the Air Force. My uncle was a Marine. My uncle was a Marine. My other uncle was Navy. My aunt was Navy. And my grandfather was a lifer in the Army, over 30 plus years. And the stories that I learned after my grandfather's death, because my grandfather did not talk about his time in Vietnam, did not talk openly about the things that happened to him. And the things that we found, his Bronze Stars, his Purple Hearts, the things that he did in the military, I really do think there's a severe disconnect between what I really disliked about the old school left during Vietnam. I mean, they had the right idea of, protesting the Vietnam War. That was the right thing to do. But protesting the soldiers was not something I ever could get behind. And it's something that really turned me off to the Democratic Party earlier on in my life, because I saw the way that soldiers were treated coming back. And I always had a very personal connection to that. So after talking to this Air Force veteran at my work, talking to veterans from this channel, more and more I think that it's like I tell the authors of books that I do interviews with, it's like, if your guys' stories don't get out there, this world loses so much, because it takes a person's personal experiences to help others recognize the type of sacrifice that many of our soldiers have made to create the soft power, the good faith capital that we do have in the world, and this misconception of what a soldier is in the Army versus what our government chooses to use them for. There's a huge disconnection between what our vets do and what our populace think they do. So I want to do more and more of that as much as I possibly can. I want to get some veterans on here and talk to them. So 5 Alarm, 10 memberships. Thank you, 5 Alarm. You guys just keep building the army. So, I mean, the suicide hotline thing, Tony, I can't tell you how I don't need to tell you how horrific that is. You know how horrific that is. I have not met or spoken to, including people in my family, one veteran that hasn't struggled with those issues. And to take that away from our veterans is probably out of all the horrific things that this administration has done, that is quite possibly the worst possible thing, was to fire the veterans, especially the ones that were facilitating that suicide hotline. So, my heart goes out to anybody out there. Like, it doesn't matter, veteran or otherwise. I've had those instances. I thought of taking my own life in my 30s, and I had a close call. And I think that it's very important that people hear people talk about that, to know that they're not alone in that struggle. So this is not a channel where we're not going to speak openly about that. We are going to speak openly about mental health. We are going to speak openly about struggles, because I think that's very important for people to know that there are a lot of people out there that have dealt with those. For too long have we made it a weakness to talk about these things. So yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate all of you guys being in here. Oxford, you called that hotline. I know how you feel, I know how you feel. I've been there. I haven't experienced your life experiences. I can only speak to my own, but I can tell you I've been there. I know what that's like, and I know how hard it is to still be here today. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you guys out there. All right. Let's see. I'm not seeing some of you guys. Maybe I'm in top chat again. Don't be in top chat, guys. Don't be in top chat. Serenity, what's happening, Serenity? Kevin, I think I said hi already. GK, what's up? Appreciate seeing all you guys here. Fucking A. I love seeing you guys here. All right. What I was going to talk about was a little bit of the videos, but I wanted to let you guys know about the live stream thing too. And then let's get into some of the videos and stuff, as somebody said over on Pep Talks the other day. Let's let me get into a video and start ranting, because that's what I do. I'm a bit of a ranter. Yeah, let's do that. And Top Chat is for nerds. I don't know why Top Chat exists. I don't know why Top Chat exists. I don't know why YouTube did this. All right, let's see. So let's pop down into little me. Let's push some buttons. Manic's here. You guys are good to go now. Manic is in the chat. Oh, look at that. Terrible. Oh, wait. Push this button? No. Push this button? Ah, I pushed the button. All right. So what do we got today? There's Golf Marine. There you go, Golf. Golf, you got a fellow Marine and Tony D there in the chat. Marines are my favorite, just so you guys know. Sorry, Army. Sorry, Navy. Sorry, Air Force. But when I was doing furniture installs in places like Nellis, the Air Force Base, Pendleton, the Marine Base, we get temporary labor, which is usually somebody with one arm, a freestyle rapper, and then at least one dude addicted to meth that hadn't showered for 3 or 4 days. But if we couldn't get enough temporary labor, we actually got some of the soldiers to help us do these furniture installs. And a little bit of some insider there is the Navy. The Navy's rooms were always dirty. Okay, all the Navy's kids, there was stuff all over the place, always very dirty. The Air Force, a lot of video games. Just saying. Calling it how I saw it, okay? Don't hate, all right? Don't hate. This is just what I saw. There's always a console, okay? Marines, when I showed up to Marines, everything was tidy, okay? When I had to build a bunk bed in their rooms, I didn't have to move aside the Carl's Jr., okay? And those Marines, I met the biggest Asian I had ever met in my entire life at Pendleton. And him and about 3 other Marines attached a rope to each of the couches that needed to come up, and they would pull it up 3 stories over the railing. And I walked up to that, and I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, this is how we do it. I was like, just don't break the furniture, guys. But they were the best. They were the best. I'm sorry. They were the best. Tony, thank you for the $20, Tony. Ginger's trigger. You're here just to trigger the ginger? Yeah. Manny, what's up, Manny? What's going on? All right. I love seeing you guys. Oceanside, welcome. Let's get this shit out of here. Try not to smoke cigars, guys. I'm trying not to smoke cigars all the time. I'm trying to not smoke cigars as often. Thank you for the $20, and thank you for the trigger, because that's what I'm here for. Sorry, Manny, you're a Navy kid? Y'all gotta clean your fucking rooms, dude. That's all I'm saying. We had to go multiple times and find a gunny sergeant and be like, hey, we need you to like move some of the, can you get the dude that's in this room to clean his fucking room for us real quick? I got a meth head and a freestyle rapper back here that need to build some bunks. Okay? I call it how I saw it. All right? You guys seen Kyle Kulinski lately? That's why I'm sick. No, I didn't see what we got with Kyle. I got a Kyle video set up to do what is it? AOC video. So that's what we're getting to. Let's get to that. You guys distract me. I get all distracted. You're from San Diego, Nathan? You know about Pendleton. Hey, that's a pretty place down there, though. Like, San Diego was my favorite place. Out of all the places that we traveled and we went to, kind of a cool place that we went to, because we do universities as well as military installations. I only did it for about a year. But I got to see Wilt Chamberlain's place in UCLA, fucking like a 9-foot tall door with this gigantic bathtub in it. That's what Wilt Chamberlain was. So that was really dope. But San Diego was hands down the coolest city. It was so nice, so pretty. It was really beautiful. Tony, 50 memberships. Holy Jesus, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Man. I want to get to the videos, but you guys keep doing cool shit. So instead, I just sit up here talking. What do you guys say? Are we here for talking? Or are we here for video watching? What do you guys like? Because, I like to do everything. But thank you for the 50 memberships, Tony, man. That I really appreciate that. I really do. I can't say that enough. I've said this a million times. Getting people involved and getting members in the army and getting people to show up and getting people to be a part of this and having a louder voice because there's more of us. That's what it's all about. So thank you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate that. Silent Siren, what's happening? Kelly Anderson, what's going on? Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much. Scott says play a fucking video. Okay. DJ was in San Diego in '89 and he thought it was pretty sketchy. You got to be in the right parts. I'm not going to say, look, okay? All right? I'm going to be honest with you guys. The hotels I stayed in with that furniture moving company weren't always in the best part of the city. I'm just saying when we were on Pendleton, it was nice. It was pretty. There's probably some sketchy places in San Diego. I do not doubt it. Tony D wants a plan. I'll tell you what the plan is, and I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to speak with some positivity here, because that's what I do, right? What's up, Jay? The plan, I want you guys to feel this, is working. I know that there is a line that if it is crossed, that we're going to do what we have to do. That there's enough people out there fed up with the bullshit that if it comes to that time, every person should be ready to defend their own, ready to defend their families, ready to defend and support the people around them. And that may come to a point where it is physical. That may come to a point where we have to stand up and do things that are very hard for us to do. But as is always the case, we always want the best possible outcome first. And you guys speaking out, you guys pushing back, the judicial system pushing back, that's the opening salvo to what we are doing. AOC and Bernie Sanders having 30,000 people show up to hear Bernie speak. Seeing people that were conservative saying, I can't do, what are we doing? Why are we firing veterans? Why are we allowing Elon Musk to run rampant through our government system? Like that, I know for some of you guys are saying that, well, that's not enough, but it gives me hope because almost in every altercation, you know, not to be all martial artists, you know, fucking turn the other cheek, but in every altercation, we want the best possible outcome for everybody without resorting to having to do something that maybe we might regret or maybe just is going to live in a very like sour way with us. And if you guys don't think that you've had an impact, you have. If you think that Donald Trump would be doing what he's doing now, and that's the worst, you're wrong. Because you guys have put guardrails on him by speaking out. By the media, the alternative media speaking out. If no one says anything, Donald Trump is doing the worst possible shit imaginable. So the first thing to always do is to speak out. And even the Globe, what's up, Perry? Even the Globe is doing their part. Would you ever in my life, in your life, ever expect to hear the words China's doing their part? But it's fucking crazy to sit here and say this. But throughout the world right now, even China is pushing back against Donald Trump. South Korea is pushing back against Donald Trump. Vietnam pushing back against Donald Trump. They're calling his bluff. The judicial system is calling his bluff. If this was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and our journalists were doing as poor of a job as they are in mainstream media, Donald Trump would be doing way worse shit. But because of the fact that so many people have woken up and said the mainstream media has become a shield for whoever's in power, they bend the knee, they don't speak out, and now we have all these people that are doing the work of what real journalists were doing. That's so fucking important right now. I don't know if everybody gets that. But if you think that things couldn't be worse than they are now, I have to disagree. I think that if all of you weren't using your voice, if you weren't protesting, if you weren't going to these Bernie shows, if you weren't boycotting, if you weren't standing up for fucking and supporting people like myself and others that are speaking out, it would be a lot worse. So, like I said, it ain't about me. It's about you. It's about the community. It's about having a bigger voice. It's about being loud. You know, I think that's the beginning of the plan. And I think we all have to know that potentially at one point we might have to do a lot more. And I think that everybody should be prepared. And I think that everybody should get it in their head that when that line gets crossed, it's time to do work. All right, guys. Let's see. Oh, shit. $10. I told you, every time I start to get to the video, somebody says something. 5-alarm fire, $10, says we just had to fire close to 200 people that were mostly disabled vets, spouses of vets, and those that were there to support us and the mission. Fucked up week, my lowest in a long time. And that's what people need to know about. People need to know that this shit is going on. They are hoping that you are exhausted. They are hoping that you are apathetic. They are hoping that they have flooded the zone with so much bullshit that you're going to give up. One of the videos I would like to watch pretty soon is from a British gentleman, I believe. It's called Gary's Economics. He's just an economics channel. He don't do political shit. He don't talk about Trump. He starts the video by saying, God damn it, guys, I didn't want to do this, but I guess I'm going to talk about Donald Trump. And he goes in and explains why tariffs are regressive taxes, why tariffs are just going to make billionaires richer and put the most strain on middle class, poverty-stricken people, and that Donald Trump knows about it and doesn't give a fuck. And when you watch this video, you can hear the stress in this man's voice. You can tell how tired he is. But you know what he said? He said, I was going to go on vacation. This is supposed to be my holiday. And he said, I'm not going to. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to make more videos. And this is a man with a lot of followers, a lot of money. And he's choosing to be here. And he's choosing to educate people on how you could have used tariffs in a real focused way to help with certain industries. But why what this administration is doing is just fucking stupid. It's very important. So keep speaking out. Keep telling people. Talk to your friends. Tell the people around you. 200 disabled veterans, veteran spouses, people that are important. I've said this before. When they said that they're getting rid of the deep state, they're not getting rid of the deep state. They're not firing corrupt politicians. They're firing your aunt. They're firing your uncle. They're firing your cousin, your best friend. People that have went to college, went into debt, went to war, joined the military, sacrificed their freedom to protect yours. Those are the people getting fired. It's not the deep state, the bureaucrats that they're talking about, the people that they're firing, the people at the Social Security Administration. They're just normal fucking people like me and you. They're not politicians that are taking money from pharmaceutical. They're not fucking politicians that are putting money in their pockets from big corporations. They're just people. And somehow our populace has been convinced that firing your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your best friend is somehow making America a better place. What did they say? What did that guy say? They can go work in the factories. They can go work in the fields. I can't get with it. I can't get with it. All right. Here we go. Let's get into it. Let's watch some videos. I had this one queued, but I don't think we're going to get to it, but it's funny as fuck. Because you got to laugh, too. You got to have some laughs. Joe Rogan's friends won't stop roasting Elon Musk. If we get to it, we'll talk about that. We got a little bit of the chaos that just happened at the Marjorie Taylor Greene town hall because people are speaking up. People getting tased out there. Every once in a while, you got to get tased. Somebody said their mom was talking about the other day back in the 70s how they got sprayed during some civil rights shit, got maced. And I said, if you ain't getting maced, then are you even protesting? I love hearing fucking some old woman like, I got maced during a civil rights protest. She's like, fuck yeah, I was there. I was doing the work. It takes us all. We got a video on this woman dated only far-right men for a year. They were so insecure. I'm going to say, like I said, a couple times, I just got to be petty, right? I just got to be petty, all right? We got the videos that we're going to get to first. We got Bill Burr going in on the robber baron history. Y'all that know about Teddy, about Theodore Roosevelt and fighting the barons, the robber barons, very important to understand history. Very important to know what we went through already, that there's already a plan. There's already a way to get out of this type of bullshit. We've already done this before. So it's very important to recognize our history. If you don't know about Teddy, if you don't know what Theodore Roosevelt did during his years fighting with the robber barons using antitrust, back in the progressive tax system, fucking taxing the shit out of corporations, go check out Teddy. I believe there's a three book biography that's great. I'll try and find that for you guys. It's actually a really good one. I haven't gotten to read it yet. One of the historians that I interviewed talked to me about it. I want to check that out. We do have a Kyle Kulinski video on AOC becoming the next possible leader for the President of the United States of America. We've got this shit. And I want to talk to you guys specifically about this because you guys know, I came from gang-infested areas. I know what gang members look like. I know how they act, what they do. I was friends with a lot of them. I'm a little bit of a different person nowadays. But I grew up with skinheads, peckerwoods, featherwoods, the Crips, fucking Norteños, Sereños, you know, fucking Coca-Cola boys, Colonia, you know. This dude ain't a fucking MS-13 member. I'm sorry, but he ain't. I don't have any problem with people that fucking do crimes and make life worse for fucking blue-collar Americans. I don't have any problem with those people being prosecuted. We've talked about the prisons for profit bullshit. I don't agree with that. But, you know, if you're out there and you're harming everyday average Americans, then, you know, I don't have any problem with you seeing justice. This man is not an MS-13 member. I've looked at the evidence. I've went out all over the fucking place to look to find this supposed evidence on this guy. And it's fucking thin as fucking paper. It is thin as paper. And then this right here, I just want to show you guys this. This is Michael Burns. So Michael Burns, he's a dude who did videos for Wisecrack. He's now got his own channel because Wisecrack is done. So if you guys liked Wisecrack, go check out Michael Burns. I'll put his link in the chat, as I said before. You guys can go watch other people's shit. I 100% support it. 100% support you guys supporting these other people. Like, go and watch other people's streams. Go click other people's videos. Support, man. I'm about the community. I'm about the ecology. I'm about the fact that this is the party of we. It's not the party of me. You don't have to just support me. I'm not gonna if you click off my channel, go watch somebody else's live stream. If they're doing good work, fucking support them. Good for you. Do the right thing. So Michael Burns, I like Michael Burns. He does good work over there. So go check him out, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But anyways, News Nation said he had a restraining order. He doesn't have any criminal record. He doesn't have any criminal record. Not here, not El Salvador. Literally, their evidence is that a supposed trusted informant said that he was a gang member and he was there with gang members. The man has 2 children that are autistic. One's not his, one's his wife's. He has another child that has epilepsy. Like, the dude was there to find work in construction. I grew up with gang members. There's not a lot of them out there seeking fucking legit work, okay? Generally, if you see a gang member, you can possibly buy crack, maybe get yourself a prostitute, and maybe get yourself robbed. But they're generally not out there just seeking to do some fucking labor, okay? Not a single fucking gang member I knew growing up was out there seeking legit work for money. That's not what they did. But anyways, we're going to get to that. We're going to watch the Humanist report a little bit, talk about it, talk about this fucking meeting between the El Salvadorian president and Trump. This is what we're down to. We've pissed off the EU. We've pissed off Canada. Mexico just kind of seems like they're like, whatever, let Trump do the dumb shit he's going to do. We're going to always be doing what Mexico does, right? We pissed off all of our allies. We've put ourselves in this place where we're potentially actually causing World War III while Donald Trump fills the fucking, White House with gold trim for some goddamn reason. Like, that's what we're concentrating on. He's telling you you're going to pay fucking more money for goods on tariffs while he fills the fucking White House with gold trim. Like, are you kidding me? But anyways, what he wants you to believe is like, yeah, we're going to lose, or we never had China. Yeah, we're going to lose to Canada. Yeah, we're going to lose the EU. Yeah, we're going to lose South Korea. Yeah, we're going to lose all these people that have supported us. But don't worry, we got El Salvador where we can send people to and they disappear. Like, I cannot get past how dumb some of this shit is. It's fucking insane. All right, so let's watch the video and I'll stop ranting, or I'll stop ranting for now.
Smuggle terrorists into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like,
He's going to smuggle him into, see what I'm saying? Like, they just want you, they just want stupid people. That's all they want. If you can't see through what is happening between these two gentlemen right here, I can't, hey, I can't do anything about it. If our president is so goddamn soft, so goddamn weak, that he can't get a person brought back from El Salvador, then he shouldn't be the goddamn president. I mean, come on, man.
The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
What? What? Don't forget Russia. Kelly, that's the thing is, Russia is not our buddy. Donald Trump thinks that he's somehow going to be this third wheel in the Russia-China-America relationship. Vladimir Putin is laughing his ass off right now. Vladimir Putin is like, thank you so much for electing this clown. Vladimir Putin is a legit gangster. These people think that dude was a gangster, but they think Vladimir Putin is just like he's just a good leader. He's a good leader. You want a real fucking gangster? That's Vladimir Putin. And he ain't our friend. He's just using Trump, using America to get his foothold to take more of Ukraine. How about that peace agreement? Haven't heard anything about that in about a week or two. Why? Because Vladimir Putin never was going to sign a peace agreement that was going to work out for the Ukrainian people. Never, ever was he going to do that.
Releasing inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our
30,000
country.
eggs.
We just turned
That's
the
why the
murder
egg price
capital of
is
the
still
world to
going
the
up.
safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go
I
back
got you, Kelly.
into the releasing criminals so we can
What's
go
up,
back
Max
to being
Left?
the murder capital of the world. No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the suit? Where's the suit? Did he say thank you?
These are sick people.
Okay, hold on. He said the reporter asking a question about a person that the United States administration said they mistakenly deported. If that was your dad, if that was your brother, and the United States of America admitted that they mistakenly deported him, okay? If they admitted to that, and then Donald Trump called the reporters asking the questions about your father, your brother, sick people. Dude, if you didn't get enraged, if that didn't make you want to cross that line, that's crazy.
I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people.
The reporters would love to. There's no evidence that this man has ever committed a crime in the United States of America, much less El Salvador. Like I said, I don't know this dude. I just know what I see. I just know the research. I literally, every time I saw some right-wing Republican say, this guy's got these charges that you guys aren't knowing about, I went to all their links. I looked up the arrest documents. I looked at the court documents. I looked at the Supreme Court case against Kristi Noem. Nothing. Paper thin evidence of he was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and a Chicago Bulls hoodie, and then a trusted informant, in other words, a gang member that is being told by the police that he will get less time or be, his time will be mitigated if he reports on people. That's their informant. That's who they trust. This guy who does not know who this fucking guy is. He just says, oh, yeah, he's part of the gang. That's the evidence. No record. Jesus Christ.
The quote-unquote terrorist that they were referring to there is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and he's not a terrorist. He is an innocent man who's a father of 3 and a husband from Maryland with no criminal record, yet he was sent to a gulag in El Salvador by mistake. The Trump administration called his deportation an administrative error and even acknowledged that he was protected from deportation because of a 2019 court order. So, no, Abrigo Garcia is not a terrorist, and the president of El Salvador, Bukele, who you heard from there, can easily release him like that if he wanted to, and Trump can simply look over and tell him, hey, release him, and he would comply. But neither of these men want to release him, even though they admitted that he ended up in a gulag because of their fuck up.
Do I think that Garcia is still alive? That's a solid question. You guys know how I feel about a lot of that stuff when we talk about the hacking of the election and stuff like that. Like, once again, I want to see proof. You know, I always like to say I'm not religious. I prefer to lean more towards being a secular humanist because I'm always open to hearing that something could be true, but I want to see evidence. Unfortunately, in this case, it's going to be very hard to find any evidence of whether or not this man has disappeared until we get like that Democratic senator, was it from Maryland, that wanted to go over there. I think that if, they continue to hide this gentleman, if they continue to not allow any of the senators to go and see him, I think at that point you start to become concerned that this gentleman is no longer alive. And if that's true, then that bodes really poorly for the rest of America, because as you've heard Donald Trump say, he indeed would like to start sending American prisoners to El Salvador. Now, even Pam Bondi had to go on Jesse Waters and say, Jesse Waters said, well, do you think that would happen? And even Pam Bondi said, if we have to build more prisons here in the United States for American citizens, still a fucking scary thing to say, but we will. Even Pam Bondi was like, we can't send American citizens over there. But remember that this has happened multiple times where Donald Trump, somebody has said something, or Donald Trump has said something, and then the people around him have said, no, you're misunderstanding what he's saying. You don't know. No, that's not constitutionally. We couldn't do that. And then Donald Trump goes and does it. So don't think that that's still it's not on the table. It is on the table. And as we all know, that slippery slope does exist. And if American citizens start getting sent over there, then you have to ask yourself, what's happening to him? I think that's a very important question, whether or not that man is still alive.
But on April 10th, in a unanimous Supreme Court decision, they upheld a lower court's ruling that ordered the Trump administration to bring him back, writing, the lower court's order properly requires the government to facilitate Abrigo Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador and to ensure that his case is handled as it would have been handled had he not been improperly sent to El Salvador. The intended scope of the term effectuate in the district court's order is, however, unclear and may exceed the district court's authority. The district court should clarify its directive with due regard for the deference owed to the executive branch in the conduct of foreign affairs. For its part, the government should be prepared to share what it can concerning the steps it has taken and the prospect of further steps. In other words, the Supreme Court is saying that the lower court was right to order the government to facilitate his release since his deportation was illegal, and the Trump administration should explain the steps that they're taking to do just that. Now, if they still want to deport him, technically they can do that, but they're required to do it the right way and give him due process. However,
and that is the most important part. And it's fucking insane to see any American citizen. I don't care how afraid of immigrants you are. I don't care how fucking racist you are. I don't care all of that shit. Even a racist garbage human being that is currently experiencing the worst case of fear of the other should still understand that due process in America is incredibly important, and once precedent is set where the United States government does not need to give certain people due process, it is not a far-fetched idea that they will one day be able to come to your home, drag you off the street, and take you to jail without due process and claim the same things that they're claiming with this gentleman. Keep in mind, this man has no criminal record. So when they say he is human trafficking, when they say he was a gang member, they can say the same things about you. In fact, just recently, a couple ICE agents showed up at an apartment complex. There was a gentleman and his wife sitting in their car outside. They walked up to the window of the car. They said they were looking for a man named Antonio. His name was not Antonio. His name was something different. He said, no, I'm not Antonio. And that guy used to live here, but he doesn't. And they said, get out of your car. He said, I'm going to wait here in my car until my lawyer arrives. They broke his window and drug him out of the vehicle and took his ass to a detention center. That could be you. Specifically, if you are not white. So if you are a Trump supporter, if you are a MAGA conservative, and you happen to be Latino or African American or just a dark-skinned white dude, you might want to be a little concerned about this lack of due process. Because you could sit in your car saying, I'm going to wait here until my lawyer gets here, and they'll break the fucking window and drag you out of your car, take you to a detention center with zero due process. Everybody in America, regardless of their status as a citizen, deserves due process. And we should all agree on that. Because if you don't think it can happen to you or somebody you love, look at every one of these Trump supporters that voted for him that got fired. Look at every one of these Trump supporters that have now experienced somebody in their family being deported because they didn't think it was going to happen to them. It can and it will happen to you. What do we get? Don't get a sunburn. I only turned red, so I think I'm okay. 5 Alarm Fire, thank you for the $10. All please watch the White House briefing today if you haven't, using a woman that lost her daughter as a political tool. I've already seen it. That shit's insane. I've said it before. When we talk about Laken Riley, my heart fucking goes out to Laken Riley's fucking parents, man. No one should lose a child. You know, like, at the end of the day, that's a fucking heartbreaking story to hear. And I fucking know why they use it. Because it is heartbreaking. But it doesn't mean that every fucking immigrant is a criminal. It doesn't mean that immigrants are out murdering jogging nurses all the time. There are more crimes being committed in this country by Americans than there are by immigrants, undocumented immigrants, by more than half. Yet you don't see these people up in arms at the hundreds, if not thousands of stories that every day are happening where American citizens are doing fucked up shit to each other. No, they want to bring one lady out to say this one immigrant did this one thing. And I've said it before. If there were hundreds of these stories happening every day, Fox News would do nothing but roll a marathon of immigrants murdering American citizens. But they're not. Because they don't commit crimes at the same rate as American citizens do, because they fear deportation. Because they don't want to be sent back to El Salvador, where gangs are trying to fucking force them into gangs. Because they just marched across the entire country with a kid on their hip to try to find a better way of life in America. Most of the people coming here are more motivated to do harder fucking work and be better fucking people than the entitled assholes that live in the country. Fucking insane. Thank you for the $10. What 5 Alarm said is 100% true. They use that woman as a political tool. And my heart goes out to her. And I even understand why she would get up there and do that. I think it is wrong-headed. I think that gentleman in Ohio, when that Haitian gentleman ran into a bus and his son died, that when he said, stop using my son for political reasons. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump need to stop using my son as a political tool to cause people to fear immigrants. That's, in my opinion, the right thing to do. But I don't blame that lady. I don't blame her. She lost a child, and I know that's fucking horrific. But I do blame all the politicians that are using these people to try to make a point that all immigrants are bad people and need to be deported. That's wrong-headed, and it's fucking dishonest, and fucking they should burn in hell for that shit.
However, the Supreme Court also says that the lower court needs to explain what it meant by effectuate, since the court can't tell the executive branch how to get a foreign government to do something because courts don't have jurisdiction over foreign policy, and Abrigo Garcia's attorney explained what that meant in simple terms.
The decision confirms that the government needs to facilitate, but asks the lower court to clarify what it meant when it said that the U.S. government should effectuate. And that's just a reference to the limits of the U.S. government's power to control the actions of a foreign sovereign here, El Salvador. So it may take some time. The bottom line is that it may take some time because, of course, the U.S. government cannot order another government to do anything now that it has put Mr. Abrego Garcia in this position. But it is still a step in the right direction and hopefully will lead to his return home to his family, or at least, unfortunately, to immigration detention in the United States while the government works out its theory for why he should be removed, even though he received legal protection in the past.
So a court can tell the Trump administration to do something, but can't tell them how to do it. But the lower court judge, who the Supreme Court agreed with, by the way, issued a new order clarifying her requirements as requested by the Supreme Court. And NPR explains Judge Zinnes issued a new order directing the federal government to take all available steps to facilitate the return of Abrigo Garcia to the United States as soon as possible. And she ordered the Justice Department to provide an immediate update on his location and status, what steps the government has taken so far to bring him back.
And that, none of that should be out of this world for you. If you're sitting there going, why should they do that? Once again, put yourself in the shoes of this man's wife. Put yourself in the shoes of this man's children. And then ask yourself, if at the very least, should the United States government, who are the people who made this situation happen, should they at least be able to provide you with the most basic information as to what's going on with your loved one? That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Just be a human being. Just have some fucking empathy. That's it. It's not that hard. And if it is hard for you to have empathy for this person, then you're fucking broken. You're broken. A lot of people got broken by COVID.
And what additional steps it is considering. Now, in her previous order, she specifically said that the Trump administration should facilitate and effectuate the return of Abrigo Garcia. But after the Supreme Court weighed in and said that effectuate wasn't clear enough, she clarified and she leaned in on that word facilitate and said that she's basically now ordering the Trump administration to bring him back, but she's not saying how they have to bring him back. But she is requiring them.
By the way, when Bukaki here got home in El Salvador, he tweeted, "I miss you already, Mr. President Donald Trump." He also tweeted when Donald Trump had sent these people over in the plane in the first place and the judge had said, "You're not allowed to do that." He said, "Oopsies, oh, too late," with a little emoji. They're fucking playing you. They're fucking playing you. And it's all laughs, it's all chuckles until that shit happens to you or somebody you love.
Them to tell her what they're doing to facilitate his return, which is something that she can do as confirmed by the Supreme Court. Now, if it feels like I'm being unnecessarily technical or meticulous, I am, but the context is necessary so you can understand just how egregious the Trump administration's lies are in defying these orders. The excuses that they make are completely bogus. Now, to be clear, a judge asking an administration to provide them, to provide her in particular, with regard to Judge Zinnes, information about how they're going to comply with her order is not an unreasonable ask. It's very simple, as explained by law professor James Sample, but they are still refusing to comply with even the bare minimum.
We're asking so little. She is asking so little of the government, and they are still...
With the unanimous backing of the...
Scott says, "I think they're trying to get this man back the wrong way. They need to finesse President Trump and work out a deal that is favorable for him. Trying to force him ain't going to work." I don't think that's going to work, dude. I don't think there is a way in which you finesse this, because we all, for the most part, understand why Donald Trump is dragging his feet on this. Donald Trump does not want to bring that man back into the country because Donald Trump doesn't want that as a black mark on his record. Donald Trump cannot take L's. He does not like to ever feel like he has ever lost anything. I mean, look back at the 2020 election. What does Donald Trump say about that? He never lost, right? He'll never outwardly say to any person that anything that he has ever done is wrong. I don't think that there is a way to finesse Donald Trump into doing this unless you're Vladimir Putin. Look, Putin at the end of the day seems to be able to pull all the strings. So maybe Vladdy can give Donald a call and maybe he can get that dude back here. But I don't see a way. I'll be honest with you. I don't think this dude's coming back ever. I think Donald Trump in this term, his whole objective was to show how weak and ineffective the judicial system is against the executive branch. The way our government is set up is that Congress is supposed to play tug of war with the executive branch with the purse strings. They are supposed to be their check on power. And when Congress is ineffective, then the judicial branch is supposed to step in and do something about that. Unfortunately, the way that our government is set up in today's age, now that we are gigantic, we have this huge military that the President of the United States controls. We have law enforcement that the President of the United States controls. We have lots of people that are on board or even voted for Donald Trump and the things he are doing. Look at the people on the ICE right now, the ICE agents. So you look at some of these people, they fucking enjoy what they're doing. They're not out there going, shit, I have to do this. They're liking what they're doing. Donald Trump knows that the Supreme Court has already said that as long as he acts within his official powers, that he is okay. Donald Trump knows that unless other powerful figures in our country stand up and say, we're not going to allow this to happen, that he will continue to be able to do it because the justice system can't do anything. Who's going to arrest him? Who's going to stop him from doing this? No one. And that's his answer. He's saying to everybody out there, I'm going to break the law. I'm going to do it right in front of you, and you're not going to do anything about it. I don't think there is a way to finesse dude coming back. I don't think
Supreme Court of the United States.
Absolutely. And in fact, not just 9 justices of the Supreme Court, but all 13 federal judges who have looked at this matter have ruled in the exact same way, rejecting the government's fundamental proposition here, which is the government's fundamental proposition is, we made a mistake. So what? Tough luck. On to the next. All 13 judges, including the district court judge, Paul Zinnis, including 3 judges on the Fourth Circuit, and all 9 justices of the Supreme Court reject the government's position, and yet the government is still resisting, even as to that little modicum of information that you mentioned.
So in layman's terms, the judge, with the full backing of the Supreme Court, mind you, is ordering them to bring him back and asking what they're doing to comply with her order to bring him back, and their answer is basically,
is Kilmar Trump's Navalny? Possibly.
That's not specifically verbatim what they said, but in not so many words, they're making it clear that they're not going to comply. The only piece of information...
And here's something I was thinking about today. So, you guys know I've talked about Curtis Yarvin before, and if you don't know about Curtis Yarvin, you should look into Curtis Yarvin. And this is why I want to do more live streams, is because I don't get to talk about Curtis Yarvin and all that crazy shit enough. So, Curtis Yarvin believes in tearing down the country, right? Curtis Yarvin is Peter Thiel's, am I saying his name right? You guys can connect me on all my vocabulary. You guys know you can correct me on that shit. Peter Thiel, his house philosopher, Mencius Moldbug, Curtis Yarvin, his whole idea is reduce all government employees, right? Or release all government employees. He believes that America should be a monarchy or a dictatorship. Once again, this is Peter Thiel's house philosopher, okay? Now, Peter Thiel, of course, is the person who funded J.D. Vance's run as a senator of Ohio. He also, most likely, is the reason that J.D. Vance got back into Donald Trump's good graces through Donald Jr. So you have, in one area, what we've already seen. And, once again, Curtis Yarvin wrote about this on April 7th, 2022. He said that Donald Trump will not be the real president. Donald Trump will be a TV president that signs executive orders, gives speeches, and goes to events, while he will hire a CEO to run the government for him, Elon Musk. Now, this was in 2022 that he wrote this. We've already seen that phase of this plan. We've already seen Elon Musk go into the government, destroy the infrastructure as much as he could, do absolutely nothing. He's already admitting he was unable to cut enough to make even a dent in the budget, which we all knew was going to happen because we knew even with fraud, waste, and abuse that does exist within our system, it wasn't going to equal the amount of money that they would need for tax cuts for the wealthy. So His part is over. And that's why you see Elon Musk now slowly being pushed out of the picture. His part is done. Elon Musk has done his damage. He might not even know that this was, if you want to look at Elon Musk and wonder why he's so fucking sad right now, he probably thought this was going to be a whole gig for him. But he's done. Now, on the other side of that equation, you still have all the Project 2025 people that are very much still involved in Donald Trump's administration. You still have all the tech billionaires that are still in the good graces. Mark Zuckerberg is right now finding out he isn't in the good graces. That antitrust lawsuit that's going to probably make him sell Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever else he has, that's his punishment for doing what Donald Trump thinks he did to him during the last election. So he's getting pushed out. And I've said this from the beginning. You have the techno oligarchs as one faction. You have the Project 2025 people as another faction. And then you have the wild card that is Donald Trump's narcissism and insanity. And I've said this the whole time. Our best bet is that the Project 2025 people and the techno oligarchs, who they do have some things that they have in common that they want done to this country so that way they can take control, they don't have everything in common. They each want to be the one that's at the head of the table. They each want to be the person that has Donald Trump's ear because they both think that they can control him. And it seems like right now, the techno-oligarch faction is starting to wane. And unfortunately, that leaves Donald Trump, who's fucking insane, who none of the things he's done so far has made any sense except for on like a chaos scale, and the Project 2025 people who seem like they've been quiet enough and doing things under wraps low enough that Donald Trump isn't pissed off at them. The hope here is that Donald Trump, being as ineffective as he is, as crazy as he fucking is, as batshit crazy and stupid as he is, ends up finding himself in a place where somebody fucking stands up and says, you can't continue to do this. We will put you in cuffs. But the question is does that person exist? Do we have a person in our society right now with the strength to speak up, that's not afraid of Donald Trump, but also has the power and the connections to do something about it? That's the question. That's the question.
Information that they gave to this judge was that he's alive. Everything else is privileged, according to them. And she responded in court saying, I'm not asking for state secrets. I'm asking you to explain to me what you are doing to comply with my order to bring him back after I said you must bring him back. But we're getting nothing. They still won't disclose his location or elaborate on any meaningful steps that they're taking to bring him back, or if they're even planning to bring him back at all. And thanks to that joint meeting in the Oval Office between Bukele and Trump, we now know definitively that they're refusing to comply with this judge's order and now with the Supreme Court because they have no...
Max says, Pam Bondi, Hegseth, come on. I think, what it's going to come down to, Max? It's going to come down to somebody that sees their future behind bars. That's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to Donald Trump making one overreach that goes too far, because you see it already. Like Ted Cruz has spoken out a little bit about like the things he disagrees with Trump. You see like them limit testing, right? You see them pushing like to see how far they're allowed to go. Obviously, people like Rand Paul, Thomas Massey have also done it. I'm not talking about the left because obviously, A, a lot of people on the left aren't doing shit, and B, the ones that are, you already know about. But I think if there's going to be a check on Donald Trump and his power, it's going to have to come from within his own party. And I think you're going to be surprised by who it ends up being. Like somebody like Mitch McConnell. When Matt Gaetz pulled those strings to get Kevin McCarthy kicked out as the House Speaker, I said back then, I was like, that's a huge mistake on Matt Gaetz's part. I don't like Kevin McCarthy, but once again, just because I don't like somebody doesn't mean I don't understand them. And what I understand about Kevin McCarthy is that he was one of the most prolific people to get funding and donation for Republican congressmen and senators, politicians. And where's Matt Gaetz now? Where's Matt Gaetz now? Donald Trump pisses off a lot of people. Donald Trump demeans and bullies a lot of people. When you look at dictators, when you look at authoritarians, look at people like Stalin. Stalin lived a life of paranoia. Why? Because Stalin went and put people on trial anytime that they spoke up against him, anytime they did anything that he thought was shady. He put them on trial and he had them executed. And the side effect of doing something like that is that you live forever in fear, forever concerned about what's going to happen to you or who's going to do something to you. So you treat the people around you in a very ironic way. You treat them very poorly because you think that that's how you keep them in check, is through fear. At one point or another, we're going to have to see which one of these people decides, I don't want to be put in prison when this all goes down and they find out all the bad shit that they did. Like they're going to be very fucking concerned about that. And somebody with a vendetta is going to stand up. At least that's the hope, right?
No plans to bring him back. In fact, they're telling the press that the Supreme Court ruling was actually a victory for them, not for Abrigo Garcia. And CNN's Caitlin Collins asked Trump whether or not he's going to ask Bukele to return him, since he's right there, and facilitating his return would be super easy right now. Convenient, right? So he doesn't answer. Instead, he pivots to Pam Bondi, who comes up with multiple lies in the span of just a couple of seconds. And
dude, this
is a lot,
crazy.
But we'll break it down when we come back.
Crazy.
Do you plan to ask President Bukele to help
look at that smug.
Look
at that smug face.
Says was mistakenly deported. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been